we left off making our orange, and now we get to make the in-between colors. So those are called our intermediate colors. So basically we want one that's perfectly between orange and yellow, which is called yellow-orange. Yellow is our primary color because it's one of the ones that we start with. And then red is our other primary color because that's one we're also given. So we always say the primary color first. So yellow-orange, or in this case, the one in between here, is not orange-red, but instead we call it red because that's primary, and then orange, so red-orange. So when we're mixing red-orange, or, yeah, let's mix red-orange first. So we want to make that in-between color. So we first start out by making orange. I almost dipped that right into my yellow, and that would have contaminated my yellow. That would have been a problem. So use your paper towel. Make sure you wipe off in between. It's very habitual to just dip and grab without wiping it off in between. It's easy to do. Okay, so, well, we might have just got it right off the bat. What I would do is I would mix this really well. Make sure you don't have any pockets of red or yellow. Okay, leave some on your palette knife and place it up against your orange and up against your red and say, is this the in-between color? No, this is too close to orange, okay? So I want to make sure that we're a little closer to red, so I add more red. So here is my little extra red. So let's see how we're doing now. Okay, that's nice. It's way darker than our orange, which is good, and it's still oranger than, or more yellow than our red. So that's ideal color. So we'll go ahead and use this for our red-orange. We really get to be careful with our temper color to make sure you're not putting it on too thin. Don't try to rush through this part of if you're going to work this hard to make this color, you want to make sure that this color is true on the page. So do not clean it up, wipe it up until you've got it nice and even and represented on the page. Because again, you don't usually get 2 shots at this, you get 1. You want to do it right the first time. Okay, so we did our red-orange. So this is an in-between of the red and the orange. So you can see our tints, tones, and shades are in between the neighbors. So we need to make a yellow-orange now. And we do so by, again, red and yellow, but we're going to have more yellow in it this time. So you can either make orange first, or you can just add little bits of red at a time. Because the red is so overpowering, you'll most likely make a closer to an orange first. And that's okay. So that's probably the best place to start, is with an orange. However, you don't want to start with a red-orange because then you'll be adding yellow until the cows come home. So, you don't want to start too far away from the color. If you do find yourself really far away from the color, then you need to probably go in a different well of your palette and kind of start over. Because if not, you'll have way too much paint. Okay. So, the question is this a good in-between? So, how we did before, put it over the orange and put it over the yellow. I think this is still a little too orange. It's way closer to orange than it is to yellow, so go back in and add yellow. And with the yellow, like I said, it's a really weak color, so sometimes you're just going to have to add a lot more than you would think. In all honesty, it should be a 50-50 ratio when you're adding, but sometimes when you have really strong colors like black, red, blue, you don't have to add less of them in order to make them work. So sometimes it's just the nature of the color, so keep that in mind when you're mixing. Okay, so now I'm in a lot closer vicinity. So that is a good yellow-orange. Let me get that painted on. Okay, so I finished my tint tones and shades for my intermediate colors. So this is the spread of colors that I can create with just red and yellow. So only given my yellow paints and red paint to begin with, you are able to get your hues, so these outside colors, and then by adding our white, black, and gray, which you can see the hot mess that I have going on right here. So lots of different color mixing, lots of different trial and error. I wanted to make sure that I had the perfect combinations so that these all went together, these all went together, these all went together. So they're supposed to be like the rainbow. They're supposed to tie together as you go. So you definitely don't want a strange color just sticking out of nowhere. So the next step would be obviously the rest of the color wheel. So if you were only given, let's say, blue and yellow, okay, where would you go from there? So I'm going to venture through the color wheel. I'm assuming you guys are caught on to the way that we create our tints, tones, and shades, which is the adding white, black, or gray, and how we kind of add more gray, add more of the hue to make sure we get the good combination. So we're going to focus on how we're going to get through the rest of the color wheel. Okay, so we have done the part of the color wheel in which we were between red and yellow. Now we are on the other side. So we need to get from blue to red and from blue to yellow. So I'm only going to work on the hues, which is this outside ring. I'm just going to show you how we mix everything and what it should kind of look like. So don't mind my dog, he's honking in the background. Okay. So here we go. If I'm going to go between blue and yellow, which, again, primary colors, okay, I'm going to have a secondary color in between this one and a secondary color in between this one. And then I will have two intermediates and two intermediates. We've already done what's in between here. So we're only working on the top half of the color wheel. So when we're mixing, we get to go between the blue and yellow. Again, yellow is weaker than blue. So let's see what we get here. So when I say yellow is weaker than blue, what I'm meaning is that sometimes you add a little less blue because the strength of the color kind of overtakes it. Alright, I like what we have here. Okay, I would call that almost like a grass green, which is perfect. So, grass green, really nice color that is perfectly in between blue and yellow. Okay, on the other side, we are going to want to do red. My dog really wants in. He really does. He'll come in here in just a little bit. Okay, and then red. Let's see what we get with that. Okay, that's actually pretty nice as well. I'm going to add just a little more red to that. Okay. And I like that, so. Sometimes it's really hard to tell how close you get. What I was going for was a real nice purple. Sometimes it's hard to tell what color you get until you've mixed it pretty good. Okay, and then there's going to be a color in between these two, and these two, and these two. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more to go. So, we're going to just add more yellow to the green. So in between every time I do this, when I reach away, I'm wiping off this palette knife. And ta-da! We have a yellow-green, which is good. And then we want to have a mixture between blue green. Steal a little bit of that. I'm a little nervous that this is too much blue, and I don't want that to be an issue, so I just kind of move some out of the way. My dog is honking. Okay, so let's see here. I think that's a great color. So the exact in between of these two is this teal color. So cool, leave that one alone. See what we get when we do the blue and the violet. Let's wipe that off real quick. Don't want to contaminate the violet. And this looks good. These are pretty easy when you start with your secondary color already mixed. And you do them in a line like this because it really is easy to see what you're doing here. So, add some violet to this, and you kind of get a real bright maroon, which is a red violet. So, let me get these painted on real quick. Okay, so we mixed the colors in between blue and yellow and blue and red, and I just mixed the hues. So this is what the hues will look like. As I mentioned before, you are not going to want to mix the colors and not do the tints, tones, and shades with them. That's why I haven't cleaned this off yet, because I'm about to do the tint, tones, and shades. But I just wanted to show you what the hues should look like. So you should have a good in-between of every color. It should go one way or the other with your colors. So, the last steps, tint, tones, and shades for each of these, and you will be finished.